Yo, 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 what is happening, guys? Welcome to the live. We are going to get into our start sits in just one moment here once I let everybody else know. Hope everybody's having a fabulous morning. Justin, Ricky, Victor, Daryl, Michael, all my favorites are already on, guys. Welcome. Saturday morning, start sits. Quarter done with the season. We know who's who. And there's still a couple of players that can break out this week. I'm still holding out hope. I think there's a lot of interesting games this week. Not necessarily from a real life standpoint, but from a fantasy standpoint, I think there could be some high scoring games, which is always good for our fantasy players. If you're new to the channel, a special welcome to you. I promise you it's nothing like you've seen before. We're raw, we're rugged, we're straight to the point, but it's all about getting you guys ahead. If you like what you see or hear, thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell for notifications, guys. Well, there's quite a few of you guys on already, so let's get right into it, guys. Starting with one of the most fantasy relevant games, even though both of these teams absolutely suck. Cincinnati, I'm talking about, and their Arizona Cardinals. I think they could have a lot of fantasy relevant players. Cincinnati's at home. If there's ever a chance to get this offense rolling, it's going to be at home tomorrow, hosting the lowly Arizona Cardinals who have to travel across the country. I mentioned this before. That's a big toll on these players. We saw what happened to the Jaguars last week when they had to travel to Denver. They made Joe Flacco look like Joe Montana. He threw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Yikes. So Arizona's in a similar situation, and they are not the Jaguars defense. I think Cincinnati's frustrated. I think they're going to let out that frustration, and I think they have a lot of players you could go ahead and plug in your lineup, including Andy Dalton, who absolutely looked horrendous last week against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Arizona is not the Steelers. So I think Andy Dalton could definitely be a streamer this week. I think he has a safe, 2 touchdowns. Absolutely love Joe Mixon. He has looked so good. It almost breaks my heart to see a running back look so good and to be in such a bad team. I mean, guys, when I tell you he's looked good, he, in my opinion, has looked better than any other running back in the league when it comes to running the football. I'm not talking about, catching and overall. I'm talking about straight from a running standpoint. The guy looks unstoppable, and he finally has a matchup where he can show his talent. So I'll probably be playing him in DFS, although there's a lot of running back matchups I like this week, but I got to at least play him in one. He's definitely a starter for you. It's Arizona, guys. Now is the time. I think Joe Mixon will get his 18 to 25 points this week. Boyd, I think, is going to go off. Another player I was telling you to buy low on or hold. I don't remember what I put in the last video, but he's definitely a buy. I don't think he'll probably won't get much lower than he is right now. Remember, guys, Boyd's last 2 matchups, the Steelers, ever since they got Minkah Fitzpatrick, have been amazing. They have Mike Hinton, one of the best slot corners. The week before that, Buffalo. Nobody scores on Buffalo. Well, now, I feel like this week is like the breakout party for so many of my guys that I've loved all year. And Boyd is another one I am starting hard on DFS, guys. Another 18 to 25 points guaranteed for Tyler Boyd. And then I think Autumn Tate could be a flex. I think he's a dart. But I like him. I like him more than Tyler Eifert. A lot of people are high on Eifert. Let's face it, Arizona is horrendous against the Cardinals. And yes, tight ends will be relevant on Sunday against the Cardinals, but we don't know which one. We assume it's Eifert, but he's only getting 42% of the snaps. So it could be that guy Uzama, however you pronounce his name. Drew Sample, I think, has been getting 30%. So I do see a Cincinnati tight end getting in the end zone. Hopefully it's Eifert if that's who you're starting, but it's kind of like an Ebron situation where both players don't get a lot of snaps. They are arguably the best tight end on their league, but it's risky because their snap count is low. So just keep that in mind if you're thinking about starting Tyler Eifert, but that might be your best, option. And then on the Arizona side of the ball, another guy who, I was really high on, has kind of struggled, especially the last few weeks, is Kyler Murray. Now, I was thinking back. I was like, Kyler Murray might be one of those names I was wrong on, or maybe not as good as I expected him to be. But there's a couple other guys that weren't particularly good last year, especially starting off, that caught fire. I don't recall Lamar Jackson off the bat if he was just really good right off the bat, but I think it took him a couple games. But one guy I'm sure of is Josh Allen, who, looked one way the first half and then really turned it on from weeks 12 to 17, was the number one quarterback as a rookie. I think Kyler can have that sort of ascension. And maybe it starts earlier because, again, he's facing the lowly Cincinnati Bengals. And if the Bengals are going to be putting up points like I think they can, that means Kyler's going to have to stick with it. He's a competitor. Hopefully he cleans up. He's been holding the ball awfully more longer than I would have liked him to. So he's taking some of those sacks. Yes, the Arizona Cardinals line is bad, but some of those got to fall on Murray. So hopefully he cleans that up. And what I do like, which makes me a little bit more confident moving forward, is he's actually running the ball more than he had the first couple of weeks. So I think Murray's a safe start. I think he has a high floor, and I think he has potential to get a lot more in what could be a shootout. Larry Fitzgerald is a great start just based on volume alone. Christian Kirk is out. He's, that trusted guy, and he's Larry Fitz, He's old, but he's still good. And then Keyshawn Johnson will probably be, there's got to be another guy. If we're talking about a high-scoring game, they can't go all to Fitz. I think David Johnson's going to get a lot of those targets as well. But if there's a receiver, a dart, considering, depending on your situation, I might even start Keyshawn Johnson. But, it is a dart. It is a dart still. And it could be, Sherfield or Andy Isabella. But Keyshawn Johnson has the best chance because he'll probably get the most volume, the most snaps, and probably the most targets. Maybe David Johnson gets more targets than him, though, even from the running back position. But if you need a dart, he's your best chance outside of the guys I mentioned. All right, so we talked a lot about that game. This game, there's not much to talk about. Bills and Titans, probably the lowest scoring games. Both defenses are really good. Both defenses you could start. It does look like Josh Allen will probably play this game, which I am surprised because he took a shot last Sunday. But he's not a particularly good start, especially going on the road. Tennessee, probably a top 10 defense at home. They've been playing really good. So the only guy you might want to consider starting in this game is Knox, because Tennessee, as good as their defense has been, they've been really suspect, really soft against tight ends. Knox has looked really good. And, Tennessee has good corners where Dory Jackson, Malcolm Butler's a little shaky, but John Brown, you can't trust him. So I do think Knox can be a streamer at tight end. But other than that, I don't know if Singletary's going to play, but I don't think he's a particularly good play if he does, unless you're really desperate for a flex. Titans, I don't want any Titans. Buffalo, you're not gonna pass on Buffalo. So Mariota is definitely not a go. The receivers are definitely not a go. The tight end's not a go. They shut down everybody. Anything that has to do with air, passing, Tennessee's gonna shut down. But I do like Derrick Henry. Especially being at home, he's going to get a ton of volume because they're not going to be able to pass. So Derrick Henry is a really good start. And Buffalo is awesome at the secondary. They're not bad against the run, but they're not dominant the way they are when it comes against the pass. So Derrick Henry is a good start. He's on that borderline RB1, probably is an RB1 top 12 running back this week. Bears in Oakland. You're just starting all your Bears. I think Chase Daniels could even be a streamer. He looked surprisingly good. Maybe it's because I'm comparing him to Mitch, who looked absolutely abysmal dating back to the end of last year. So I think Chase Daniels, depending how desperate you are, I think Chase Daniels can be a streamer. Absolutely love Montgomery. Oh, Lord. Montgomery, Oakland is not good at stopping the run. Now Vontaze Burfict is out for the year. Farrell, their defensive tackle, their big, space eater. He's probably not going to play. The game script's in his favor. This is another goal coming out party for another player I love, David Montgomery. I think Allen Robinson's a good play. And I think Trey Burton, who has seen his snap count increase every week, can be a very sneaky play to a Oakland defense that has allowed a touchdown to a tight end in 3 straight weeks. Anthony Miller might have, but that's the dartiest of darts. But just saying, it's all about the Bears. Oakland, on the other hand, you're not starting anybody but Waller because the volume's going to be there. Tyrell Williams might miss this game. It looks like he's going to travel with the team, but I doubt he plays. So, yeah, it's going to be Waller, nothing else. So I don't like Jacobs this game. If you want to try him as a flex just because he might get some volume, but I don't know about that, man. So just really Waller when it comes to Oakland. Bucks and Saints. This is kind of an interesting game. I think this one might be more low scoring than people think because Teddy Bridgewater is not the quarterback to light up the scoreboard. Tampa Bay, outside of last week, well, the last 2 weeks, actually, their defenses look suspect. But they've been really good against the run. So Alvin Kamara, this is not a great game, but Alvin Kamara is Alvin Kamara. If he's going to get the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, is probably going to be in the pass game, but they do have Devin White, who could come back after missing the last 2 or 3 weeks. I think he's missed. Devin White's amazing, so that's going to be an interesting matchup if they decide to use Alvin Kamara in the passing game because you cannot run against this Bucs defense. They've been one of the best, I think, top 5 against stopping the run. They have stopped everybody. One of the lowest yards per carry. So, and Alvin Kamara does most of his damage anyway in the pass game. So that's going to be an interesting matchup. Devin White versus Alvin Kamara. Devin White sideline to sideline, I think, is the future of the NFL. He could cover. He has blazing speed. I think the fastest linebacker in the league right now. So that should be interesting. I think it's going to be a big Michael Thomas game. They're going to feed him. That's where you could really get the Bucs in the secondary. And then Winston coming off 2 30-point games. So why am I saying temper expectations? Because, guys, as bad as New Orleans has been against quarterbacks, against, just passing in general, that's a different team in the Superdome. It's a division game. So, they know Winston, and I think that's why I'm saying I think it could be a little lower scoring, not low scoring, but maybe 24-17. I don't think it's going to be another Rams shootout. So you're starting Winston, but I'm not sure if he gets that third straight 30-point game. I love Evans. He's owned Marshawn Lattimore. Chris Godwin's a go. So I still think they present safe floors. But it's going to be interesting to see. I think, on paper, this looks like a great matchup for Winston. But for me, this is going to be the hardest matchup, perhaps. I mean, we thought the Rams were going to be tough, but it looks like the Rams are just not that great on defense this year. So it's going to be curious to see. He's going to gain a lot of my respect, though, if he goes to the Superdome, beats the Saints, and puts up, another big game. Rojo's not a go. As good as the Bucs have been, New Orleans has been just as good at stopping the run. Rojo still is a touchdown-dependent running back. So he's not going to give you a lot in the pass game. I still think, I still not sold completely on Rojo because of that. And then New Orleans one of the best to run on. So Rojo's not a particularly good start. He garners flex consideration, though. Vikings and Giants, Dalvin Cook, great matchup. Definitely like him. Actually, I kind of like all the Vikings this game. So I like Cook. Thielen just called out his quarterback, so I expect a big game out of Thielen, especially Stephon Diggs might not even play. I don't know what's going on there. I think he missed practice. He's talking junk. So it looks like Stephon Diggs will I don't know. I think it's leaning towards him not playing. So, but either way, I think both receivers, I think it's starting to click to Minnesota. Like, you actually got to throw the ball. You can't just run every single down, even though when they have tried to throw the ball, Cousins hasn't looked particularly good. But it's a good matchup. So I'm pretty much starting all my Vikings here. For the Giants, Shepard is going against Xavier Rhodes. I have no problem sitting him. Golden Tate could be a sneaky play here, though, because, Xavier Rhodes is going to be on Shepard. Trey Waynes is the other outside corner. So if Golden Tate plays the slot, he could be a sneaky play. Absolutely love Evan Ingram in this matchup. If there's one hole that the Vikings have, it is against the tight end. They've hurt in that area. So I expect a big game, lots of targets for Evan Ingram this game. Gallman is not a particularly good play, but because he's going to get most of the volume, probably won't be able to run much, but he's a tremendous pass catcher, presenting him with a pretty decent floor and could be a solid flex still, even in a tough matchup. Jets and Eagles. I like Robbie Anderson. Philadelphia's going to put up points. They're at home. Jets are suspect. Defense, period. Run, pass, especially in the secondary. So Robbie Anderson even did decent, surprisingly, against the Patriots the last time the Jets played. He's going to get the targets. And like I said, the matchup calls for it. So, the quarterback situation is going to limit his upside, but I do think he could be a solid low wide receiver too. So I got no problem starting Anderson. Other than Bell is a horrible play this week because the Jets are not going to be very good at offense. You cannot run on Eagles. I mean, opponents are averaging like 1 yard per carry against that rushing defense. So Bell's a good pass catcher as well, but just doesn't feel right. You're not sitting Bell, but I think Bell is like a low RB2 this week. So just temper expectations on that. And then the Eagles, I think Wentz has a really good game. Ertz hasn't had a big game yet. I think this could be it. The Jets have not faced any good tight ends at all this year. So I expect Ertz to really get it done. Still no Djax. Jeffrey, he's one of those guys that's boom or bust, but if there's ever a game to turn it on, would be now against the Jets. So Jeffrey's a solid play as well. Because the Eagles will be up, I think Jordan Howard could be enough. But Jordan Howard is still one of those guys. I don't care. He may have changed uniforms, but it's like he had three busty games, then broke out. I wouldn't be surprised, if he has another kind of let down game, even though it's a favorable matchup. You think he's going to tear it up again and he gets 9 points. It could be Sanders. Those are kind of like desperation starts, flex considerations, but not a whole lot more. Ravens and Steelers. This is an interesting game. Division game. Baltimore's defense is not what it once was. Steelers' defense looks like it's going to be one of the best. I don't think this is a particularly good start for Lamar Jackson. I think the Steelers, they've got speed. They've got Minkah and Devin Bush in the middle. So Lamar Jackson, they're familiar with Baltimore. They're familiar with the schemes. Division game. Not saying that you sit Lamar. He's a must start each and every week. But I would temper expectations for Lamar. Same with Mark Andrews. Pittsburgh Steelers have been one of the best covering the tight end the last couple of weeks especially. So I don't think this is a good. He's still kind of nursing an injury. And I told you guys a couple of weeks back, sell high on Andrews. His first 2 weeks were against the Cardinals and the Miami Dolphins, guys. The two worst teams against defending the tight end. His last 2 weeks, solid yet unspectacular. So I don't expect that resurgence again of 20-point games to come back against the Steelers. So he's your start, but again, not amazing. I'm not feeling any of the Baltimore receivers. Again, Marquise Brown, he could do it against Arizona and the Dolphins. He hasn't done crap since. And Lamar Jackson really hasn't thrown the ball. His points have come more with his legs. He's only completing like 50% of his passes the last couple of weeks. But again, those legs, points are points. So that's why Jackson's still good, but I would temper expectations. Juju has a good matchup. I do like that Mason Rudolph specifically said they need to get him the ball more. Wouldn't be surprised if they try doing that, maybe setting that up with shorter passes. Baltimore slot corner has been really, really weak. So I think Juju could be a good play this week. Connor and Samuels, I think they're Connor's probably more like an RB2, especially if he has to split with Samuels. That's going to, cap his upside. And then Samuels, we don't know if last week was just, a game-specific type of deal where they're running the Wildcat. I don't know how long that's going to last. The week before, he didn't have any snaps. And he still didn't run the ball particularly good, but he did other things. He got a touchdown, and he caught the ball because he is a former tight end and has good hands. So we'll see. I think Samuels is it's kind of a darty flex, so deserves flex consideration. But I think both of them are going to kind of, hurt each other and cap each other out. So yeah, those are the players that kind of stand out in that game. Then you got the Patriots and the Skins. There's really not much to say here, guys. Washington, Jay Gruden will probably be fired any minute now. Patriots defense, another 25-point game. Colt McCoy's actually looked pretty decent the last couple of years, but I mean, maybe Chris Thompson is worth a flex consideration because they're going to be down so much and they're just going to, they got nothing. Terry's not going to do anything against Stephen Gilmore. I think Vernon Davis and Jordan Reed are out. Just Washington's a mess. Patriots, on the other hand, start everybody but Sony Michel. Sony Michel sucks. And I wouldn't say he sucks. I think just the Patriots offensive line, they're not good. Patriots never invest a lot of money or high draft picks in their offensive line. The one high draft pick that they did invest, which was Isaiah Wynn, is out for the year. So Sony Michel, he's just not good, man. He's just not good, even though the game script should call for it. But Josh Gordon's a really good start. Edelman's a really good start. White is a flex upside. And Sony Michel, the game script calls for it, but I would still, he's a touchdown dependent running back. He's kind of like Ronald Jones, except Ronald Jones has actually looked better. Jags and Panthers. Jags and Panthers. DJ Shark has looked really good, but now this is a matchup I want to see. This is the moment of truth. DJ Shark against James Bradberry. James Bradberry has arguably been the best corner in the entire league for 2019, guys. He shut down Evans. He shut down Hopkins. But it's interesting because Bradberry's kind of a physical corner, and so is Mike Evans, and so is DeAndre Hopkins. DJ Shark, on the other hand, presents a different type of matchup for Bradberry. Bradberry runs a 4.45 40. DJ Shark runs a 4.3 4.40. Bradberry's 6'1". DJ Shark is 6'4". And he's kind of a finesse guy. DJ Shark kind of reminds me of a faster AJ Green. AJ Green is tall, lanky, huge catch radius, kind of slick in his routes. DJ Shark reminds me of that. DJ Shark looks to me, and I know it's early, but almost unguardable. And Minshew has got balls of steel. I don't see Minshew shying away from his guy. So even though I'm not saying DJ Shark is as good as Evans or as good as Hopkins, I think he presents a different type of matchup for Bradberry. But with that said, guys, I mean, if you got other options, I'm looking otherwhere. I forgot other places. Somebody asked me earlier, should I start Autumn Tate or DJ Shark? If it's between those two, I'm going the talent over everything route, even though Autumn Tate has a great matchup. And Autumn Tate's 6'5" and has looked good in the preseason and got quite a few targets even this last game against Pittsburgh. I'm going with my guy. But with that said, guys, Panthers defense, outside of the Patriots, I think the Panthers has looked the best. I think they're averaging like 4 yards per play. They got Bradberry, even Vontae Jackson. Not sure if he's going to play, but he's a really good second corner. Of course, you got Luke Kuechly in the middle. So Panthers defense, and they're at home. They have, like I said, I would sit DJ Shark for the right guy, just not Autumn Tate. You know what I'm saying? So Fournette is still an RB1. Carolina's been really good against the run, but I still think they could be had, and they're going to need Fournette. And Cam Robinson, looks like that's made a difference on that offensive line. So they're going to feed him. So just based off volume alone, Fournette is a safe play. Low RB1. He could go off at any moment, though. So those are only really the two players that I'm starting. against the Panthers, and DJ Shark's not necessarily a must start though. Panthers, wow. Looks like Ramsey's going to be out this game. I think Curtis Samuel is a great start. I thought he was a great start last week, but I think it's going to be a different ball game this week. Like I said, the Jaguars allowed Joe Flacco to throw for 300 yards. Ugh. Courtland Sutton had 2 touchdowns. So Curtis Samuel is definitely in a blow-up spot. He's due. Even DJ Moore, I'm guessing one of them is going to be the guy. Maybe both, but one is obviously going to be the better play. I think Curtis Samuel, based on the rapport I've seen with him and Kyle Allen. Kyle Allen could be a streamer as well. The best player that the Panthers obviously have is CMC. He probably has the toughest matchup because the Jaguars have shut down the running back position, but they actually could be had, against pass catchers. Damian Williams a couple weeks back had a pretty good game, but Miles Jack, I think, was out that game. So we'll see. CMC is CMC, but I don't know if this is going to be the 30-point CMC that we saw last week. So maybe somewhere in between the Bucs CMC, who shut him down, and then the 30 points. So maybe like a bad game for CMC is like 18 points. Olsen could be a good game for Olsen though. Noah Fant scored a touchdown on the Jags last week. Delaney Walker had a really good game against the Jags the week before. So this could be a Greg Olsen type of game. So basically you're kind of starting all your Panthers, which is weird because we thought the Jaguars would be a good defense. But that just shows how good Jalen Ramsey is and what a difference he makes in a defense when he's in the lineup. Probably this is the best game of the week from a fantasy standpoint is the Falcons versus the Texans. Start everybody. I mean, Julio, great matchup. I mean, the Texans don't have any corners. They're old. Jonathan Joseph on Ridley. Are you kidding me? I love Ridley this week. I think Ridley's going to really blow it out the water. I'm starting him into every DFS. 30-point game for Ridley. Take that to the bank. He's due. Hooper's Hooper. Houston could be had down the middle. The only Falcon I don't like is Devontae Freeman. I just don't like him for the year, and Houston's really good at stopping the run on top of that. So he's the only one I don't like. D-Hop, he's due. He's going against Trufant, but Trufant's a good corner, but he ain't stopping D-Hop, especially at home. So D-Hop's good. And then Fuller and Kuti. If Kenny Stills is out, I love QT. That matchup, I saw the rating. I forgot the corner's name, but he's like the 108th best corner in the league. QT's really good, guys. And I know he's been a letdown, part due to injury, part two due to Kenny Stills. Remember, when you're injured like that, and then you have a good Kenny Stills is a good receiver. He's played good in New Orleans and Miami. He's been relevant. And then you have somebody like that come in, and you're nursing an injury, and then you come back, and you're kind of behind. If Kenny still plays, Cootie's a great start in DFS and real life. If Kenny still plays those, I'm off that bandwagon. So Will Fuller, even in a good matchup last week, didn't really do anything. So not really feeling Will Fuller, but wouldn't surprise me. Like I said, it's going to be a high-scoring game. So we'll see. Atlanta's defense is not very good. Absolutely love Deshaun Watson, my number one quarterback this year. And Matt Ryan's a good play, too. He's going to have to keep up. So be on the lookout for that. If Stills is down, a lot of you guys have been asking me and giving me crappy options for your flex. Pick up QT. He's on your waiver wire only if Stills is out. And then Duke Johnson. I think Duke Johnson could be a sneaky play. Atlanta is the worst at defending pass catchers. Duke Johnson, the problem with Duke Johnson is really Houston. They have not given him the ball. When they have, he's produced. But I think he outsnapped Carlos Hyde last week, like 60-some% to 30-some%. So are we seeing a change in the guard? Regardless, I think Duke could be a solid flex this week and definitely deserves that consideration. And he might be on your waiver wire as well. Broncos and Chargers. Chargers really good against stopping the pass. They could be had at the run. So I think both Freeman and Lindsay are good starts. If you have, because they're good in the secondary, I think Freeman's played better, and he's officially outsnapped Phillip Lindsay. And I just feel like he's due. I've been saying that every week. Eventually, I'm going to be right? I mean, the matchup's right. Chargers really good against the pass. So where are you going to attack them in the run? I think Freeman and Lindsay are both good starts, but I would give the slight edge to Freeman. Sutton, Casey Hayward's been kind of susceptible lately. I don't think he's a shutdown corner. I think he's a solid corner, but I think Sutton is special. So I'm still starting Sutton more like a low wide receiver 2, high wide receiver 3, flex, somewhere around there. But not the best matchup, but he's just good, guys. So I think he's pretty much getting in that every week territory as at least a wide receiver 3 to wide receiver 2. So you're starting him, and then maybe Sanders. Since Sutton will be on Casey Hayward, Sanders has the better matchup, but I still like Sutton more just because we know he's guaranteed targets and we know he's looked damn good. Chargers, Melvin and Eckler are both kind of in the RB2 range. It's kind of like Jalen Samuels and Connor. They're each going to hurt each other's cap, but it looks like Eckler's still going to be the main guy. So if you have Eckler, you can at least use him for one more week. So both of them are starts. I think Mike Williams is a sneaky play. Harris shadowed Keenan Allen last year. Remember, this is a new defense staff. Harris has been quite impressive because up to this year, he was playing in the inside. He was the slot corner. Now they got him in the outside, which I thought maybe might expose him. He's looked just as good, if not better. So he's for real, man. He really impressed me this year. And if he shadows Keenan Allen, then obviously he's cat. So I think Mike Williams could be a sneaky play because outside of Chris Harris, Denver does not have good corners, and they're just not a very good defense this year. Now they just lost Bradley Chubb, so their pass rush takes a hit. Phillip Rivers is a really good start too. Packers and the Cowboys. Cowboys have been really good at stopping the run. They got really fast, linebackers with Vander Bosch and what's his other guy's name? Jalen Smith. Yeah, really fast. But they're going to need to lean on Aaron Jones. Devontae Adams is out. Jamal Williams is out. Extra reps. 2 years ago, Aaron Jones lit up the Cowboys with 116 yards, 25 carries. That was his career high, I think, at the moment. That was his breakout game. History tends to repeat itself. So I actually like Aaron Jones. I think the volume will be up. And, talent over everything. As good as Dallas is, I think Aaron Jones is really good, especially if he's given the volume. He's also pass catching back. Curious to see if Dexter Williams makes his debut, how much he's involved in the offense. MVS, curious to see if he has that capability to be a number one receiver. We're going to find that out. He's matched up against Byron Jones, who's hasn't been great. He's kind of like Casey Hayward. He's more of a name right now. He's been good, but he hasn't been shut down. So I think MVS, we're going to find out, what type of player he is. And he has the making. He has the makeup. He has the physical makeup to be a wide receiver 1, despite being a 5th-round pick. Because, Aaron Rodgers could do that to people. He's 6'4", runs a 4.37 40 time. So I'm really excited about this game to see if MVS is as good as I think he could be. And then I have a feeling either Allison or Kumaro might, get a sneaky touchdown. I just don't know. They're both kind of darty. I think I should coin that phrase, darty. I've never heard anybody say darty. So darty is like, a dart. You're just hoping for a good game. So I think those two are kind of darty. But I love Jimmy Graham. Remember, Byron Jones has not been shut down, but he's been really good. Both Dallas corners and Dallas defense and the secondary have been really good. Suspect against the middle, which you see that against a lot of teams. There's a lot of teams that are really good on the outside. Tennessee, I gave you an example earlier, but they could be had in the middle. So I think Jimmy Graham, being that Devontae's out, 2 weeks ago, I think Aaron Rodgers said, we need to get Devontae the ball more and we need to get Jimmy Graham the ball more. He had quite a few targets. I don't remember how many targets he had. I think it was 8 to 10 targets, which is a lot for a tight end. So, being that the matchup is there, Jimmy Graham's still a talented receiver, a little injury prone, but he's healthy right now. He's definitely the red zone target. So I think Jimmy Graham is a really, really solid play this week, especially in today's tight end climate. So I'm only picking the best tight ends, your Ertz, your Kelce's, your Hoopers. Outside of those guys, I think Jimmy Graham's probably in that 7-8 range when it comes to tight ends. I like him better than Delaney Walker or Tyler Eifert or the Indianapolis Colts tight ends. I like him better than all of those, not Waller. And then the Cowboys. Now, don't let the Packers secondary fool you. Remember, and I tell you guys this all the time, Thursday night games are not real, guys. The defenses don't game plan. It's a lot harder to stop somebody, especially a quarterback like Carson Wentz, who's elite in my opinion, and Colin Cowherd's opinion. He loves him. I don't know if you noticed that. But, yeah, so Green Bay Packers secondary is still one of the best. Dak Prescott is still shaky. We saw that when he went to New Orleans, but he is a better quarterback at home. I think Zeke goes nuts because as good as Green Bay's been in the secondary, they've been absolutely horrid in against stopping the run. So Zeke has a big game. Cooper's safe because the volume will be there. And it's weird because Green Bay has been really good in the secondary, but if you look at their corners, they don't have particularly good corners. They just haven't allowed a lot of passing touchdowns. Their pass rush with Zarius Smith and Preston has been good. So, yeah, I don't think this is a particularly good game for Dak. I think Cooper's safe. Gallup can be a flex, an upside flex at that, but it's his first game back from injury. That I'm less concerned about. I think people have this assumption, and this is why I was high on Cooper Kupp and this is where my experience comes in. I mentioned this a lot, but I've been playing 20 years, guys, fantasy football. And before I was playing fantasy, I was an NFL fan. And this is one thing you guys got to realize, guys. When a player is on the field, he's ready. Remember, you can't it's not like the NBA. Kobe has played with back spasms and Jordan played with the feet. No, guys. You cannot half-ass the NFL when people are knocking your head out. If you're good to go, you're good to go. We've seen T.Y. Hilton miss practice and then go off for 30. Last week, a lot of people sat Chris Godwin, not Entourage. I said, start Chris Godwin. If you're good to go, guys, because you can't half-ass. If you're playing, you're ready. And they'll shoot you up with some cortisone where you're numb, where you think you're Superman. So it don't matter if you're alien. If you're ready to go, you're ready to go. So if Gallup plays, he's ready to go. With that said, the matchup's still not good. But don't be scared, and this goes for future. A lot of you guys tend to be scared. Well, he's coming off an injury. No, because he's coming off an injury, but this has been weeks in the making. First, you start jogging. Then you start practice. Then you start limited practice. And that, you know what I'm saying? So I just want you to keep that in mind because if you're playing, you're ready. So there's a little tip for you guys. Colts and Chiefs, another one of those games. Now, this is tricky. Very, very tricky. Okay? Jacoby Brissett. So many people are high on Jacoby Brissett. Should I sit Aaron Rodgers for Jacoby Brissett? No. Listen, Jacoby, I'm not going to lie. He surprised me. But, guys, as bad as Kansas City is, they're a totally different team at home. You better believe they are different at home. That stadium is huge. One of the biggest, if not the biggest in the NFL. It reminds me of a college football stadium. That's what KC is like. KC's a tough place to play. All right? That's number one. Number two, KC is horrible at defending the run. So I love Marlon Mack this game. Jacoby Brissett, I'm not sitting him over Aaron Rodgers. Talent over everything, not matchup over everything. The times I've gotten in trouble, I said something stupid last week, and I was like, I'm the talent over everything, guys. And I was telling people to sit Winston for Kyle Allen. I'm like, that made me sick to my stomach. I felt like I just slapped myself. I'm really upset with myself because I hate letting you guys down. I really do. I get mad, bro. I get almost sick. When I tell you guys to start the wrong person, I really get mad. And I'm not doing it this week. No. Aaron Rodgers. All right? So, you're starting Aaron Rodgers. You're tempering expectations. Jacoby Brissett, he's an okay streamer. But you're not starting him over Aaron Rodgers. You want to start him over Andy Dalton, that's cool. Even that's kind of, all right? So, Jacoby Brissett is okay. Not great. Hilton, you're starting. Hilton's been on fire. The tight end situation is unique. I got lucky. I started Ebron. We started Ebron in the Fantasy Football Throne League, and he got a last-second junkyard, game was over touchdown that saved him. But he also had like 3 or 4 drops, I think 3. And I looked at the stats. Ebron is only in 35% of the snaps. Jack Doyle is in 73% of the snaps. Jack Doyle, I've noticed, his points have increased every week. Now, I do think that has to do with T.Y. Hilton missing time. However, in the past, 2017, Jack Doyle and Jacoby Brissett were like this. He was on fire. Ebron's still more of the red zone guy, but I'm going to trust Jack Doyle. I think Jack Doyle is a little safer. I mean, you follow the volume, you know what I'm saying? 73 compared to 35. The chemistry's there. So I could be totally wrong. Ebron could have a redemption game after the drops. Don't get me wrong. But I still think Jack Doyle is the better play just because, you know, the more times you're on the field, the better chance you have of making a play. Kansas City's been bad. They've been horrible against the run and against the tight end. So they can't all go to Hilton. They're going to have to pass. You know, KC's going to put up points at home. So Travis Kelce, I didn't mention him. I haven't got to the Chiefs. Never brain fart. So yeah, I think Jack Doyle and Ebron both can be starters, but I think Jack Doyle is just a little bit safer, has a little bit safer floor. We'll see if that streak continues where he increases his points, or will T.Y.'s return, because I do expect him to play with 2 limited practices. That guy's as tough an NFL player as there is. Seems like he's always hurt, but doesn't miss that many games. So I like Jack Doyle anyway. Chiefs, really like Damian Williams, Shady too. I like both. It's kind of like that Eckler, Melvin Gordon situation. I think they both could be RB2s because Indianapolis, outside of Atlanta, they're one of the worst with pass catching backs. So I think both of them could be really, really good. Darrell Williams, I think he's the odd man out. I also think both Demarcus Robinson and Mecole Hardman. Not sure if Sammy Watkins plays. He went limited, then no practice. When you have a no practice on Friday, that's usually spells bad news. So Demarcus Robinson at home and Mecole Hardman, I think both of them could be flex wide receiver 3s to wide receiver 2s or more. So basically what I'm trying to say is start everybody in Kansas City. And then especially Kelce, Indianapolis Colts. They've been bad against tight ends for the last few years. So Kelce is in another blow-up situation. Last but not least, the Browns and the Niners. Nick Chubb's been great, but this is a really tough game for Nick Chubb. He's going to be there because of volume. And they're going to have to use that volume against the Niners. But the Niners are tough. That defense is for real, especially at home. So it's not a great matchup. Not like I said, he's an RB1. He's just not a top 5 RB1. I think he's probably like 10, around there. I think this could be a Jarvis Landry game. Seems like he cleared the concussion protocol. So OBJ will probably see a lot of Richard Sherman, even though he doesn't shadow. Niners are one of the worst at defending the slot where Landry plays. So Landry, this could be another big game. But again, I'm not necessarily trusting him, but today's climate, I doubt you have better options. He's at least a wide receiver 3 to wide receiver 2 this game. So he's pretty much, you're starting him. So there is some upside, but he is one of those players that can let you down at any moment because that's just Landry. Callaway, he's a dart. First game back, but the Niners can be had. You know what I'm saying? They do give up the big play. We saw Deontay Johnson from Pittsburgh get a big play and get behind the defense a couple weeks ago. So Callaway is kind of a similar player, similar size, a speed guy. So he's definitely like a Marquise Goodwin, though. You know, he relies on the bomb. So it's going to either be boom or buzz. He's going to get a 50-yard touchdown. He's going to get you crap. But I don't know what your situation is. If you need a dart, you need some upside, whatever. Niners, Jimmy, I don't think Jimmy's a great start, but I do think he's in that Jacoby Brissett, Andy Dalton, Chase Daniels, Kyle Allen. I think he's in that, and I think he's a little bit safer coming off a bye at home. The Browns are down to 2 starting cornerbacks. It looks like neither Greedy nor Denzel Ward practice on Friday, which usually means a no-go. Although, because they're a Monday night game, we'll have to see if they practice today, but I doubt they play. However, the Browns, and I said this a couple of weeks ago when it came to the Philadelphia Eagles, sometimes it's just a system. The Browns are good at defending the pass, and despite being without Denzel Ward and Greedy Williams, they've done a really good job at containing their opponent's receivers. So sometimes it's just the system. So I wouldn't go crazy, you know, thinking, oh, this is Pettis time, this is Debo time. Although I think they both have the talent to do that, I do prefer Pettis over Debo. Kyle Shanahan's been talking him up again. It looks like he had 2 injuries, not just the groin, but also pectoral injury. So I do expect to see Pettis to get a season high in snaps. I don't think he's had more than 40 to 50% of the snaps. So it's possible. I do love George Kittle this game because the Browns can be had against tight ends. His targets have been there, so I do like George Kittle this game. I think the receivers, though, are still kind of hit or miss, even though on paper it might look like a good matchup. But Jimmy, I think, you know, you should have a decent floor. Not spectacular. I don't think he's going to kill it, but I think maybe, you know, 240 yards, 2 touchdowns, something like that. And then as far as the Niners running back, I think you can start whichever pass-catching back is going to play. Breida is the Ronald Jones, is the – what was the other touchdown-dependent running back I said? Kind of, you know. So, yeah, he's the primary ball carrier, and he could get a lot of yards. But if he doesn't get a touchdown, if he gets 90 yards and no touchdown, it's still 9 points. So he does garner flex consideration, hoping that he gets a touchdown. But the better play is either Tevin Coleman, still not sure if he's going to play this game, or if he doesn't, Mostert. The problem is you need to set your lineups by Sunday, and this game is Monday, so you might not be able to know, you know, ahead of time. So if we do find out something today and Tevin Coleman we know is sitting, then I think Mostert can be a solid flex play for this game. And then for the Browns, we covered the Browns. So, yeah. That pretty much concludes it, guys. Thank you all for showing up. I see there was quite a bit of you. That makes me happy. It lets me know that you guys are getting some value and enjoying the content. So please, before you leave, exit the chat. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a sub if you haven't already. I'm so close to 1,000. That is the goal. That's like when I officially become a YouTuber because I can start running ads and get a little bit of money because I'm broke. I am. I don't have money. I need to live because I want to help you guys. And this is a full-time job. It takes a lot of work to research and come up with this stuff. So thank you once again, guys. If you have any comments, comment down below. I always got your back. And good luck this week, guys. You can always follow me on social media as well, at Fantasy Football Rapper, and Twitter, I am FF Rapper. Until next time, peace. Yo, easy.